One is from Wild Orchard Green Tea. Did I get that name right, sir?
You did.
Okay, cool. So tell us a little bit about this company.
So we're a tea company, and what's unique about us, well, let me get back to the name, right?
Yes.
Wild Orchard itself. So wild, what wild denotes, like wild animals or wild nature or wild flowers, it means there's no man-made intervention. It's just plays out as nature intended,
Sure.
right? And that's usually the best way. It's the simplest way. It's the way things were designed. And so when we look at our teas, the way that we cultivate them, the name denotes that we try to use the least amount of human intervention as possible. Let it play out. The land, make it pristine. The soil, keep it pristine, just like it was designed to. And what will result will be the best quality tea with the most nutrients, antioxidants that are helpful for human health, but at the same time, it's beneficial for the planet. The way that carbon is sequestered, it's the natural process. So we just thought that Wild Orchard, it really embodies what we're about.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, what is the problem in the when we go to the grocery stores and we see all these green teas on the aisle,
Yeah.
and what makes you different, and what is the problem that you're solving? And I know you are solving a very unique, very interesting problem, and which stems from all the way from how it's seeded to where it is.
Right.
So, tell us a little bit about that.
So first of all, when we talk about foods, there's a transparency issue. So let me ask you, Dev, when you go and buy a tea or when you go to the grocery and buy a fruit, do you know exactly how that's cultivated and what may be in that and how it affects your health?
No, but it is always on my mind, and I'm always saying, "Oh, is this really organic?
Right.
Is this really like I don't even know some of the stuff they put on that,
Right.
and I can understand it now."
Right. So when it comes to tea, tea is a bioremediator. What that means is when it's in the soil,
Uh-huh.
a bioremediator means that it is absorbing and sucking up a lot of what's in the soil. So if you're a tea garden and you have a practice where you're spraying pesticides and herbicides to keep the weeds down, what do you think is going to be in the tea?
Right. The
Chemicals.
chemicals.
So when you actually brew that tea, what is coming out along with the tea?
Yeah, what comes to my mind in this situation is if you take a vineyard which is a bad grape versus a really good grape. A really good grape is cultivated, engineered with its perfection, right? And I think that is not actually perceived by the industry as what is the good tea versus a bad tea, right?
That's what I'm saying. So we're here in the market to create that transparency and give people the understanding, wow, there is actually someone who is growing tea in this manner. They are the purpose in growing it this way. It's really to benefit the end user,
Sure.
and obviously the planet. So we want people to know from the name of our brand all the way to the way that we're cultivating our teas, and we're very transparent and open on our social media channels. People can go and see our tea farm, see how the farmers are cultivating, how they're taking care of the land. We're trying to create that level of transparency that isn't available in many ways.
Right. From it seems like what you're saying is there's a lot of different ways of farming tea.
Yeah.
What in the process of farming,
Yeah.
what is so different in the farms besides pesticide? I think is there any other ways of how they're doing this?
So the way of farming tea is very similar across the board, whether it's not conventional, organic, or regenerative organic.
Sure.
The difference is with conventional, they're spraying pesticides. They're spraying all sorts of things because they want to make it easier to maintain. If you go to organic, they don't do that. So you know that actually they're not actively spraying that. When you go to regenerative organic, the focus is not only do you not have pesticides, the focus is on the health of the soil, the quality of the soil. So then what that does is you're producing a much more nutrient dense tea.
Yep.
Those are the things that are invisible. So now with regenerative, there's a new certification that's coming out, regenerative organic certification. we're actually in line to be one of the first teas to get that certification. So just in the way that if you buy a certified organic tea, you can kind of have a peace of mind that there's no pesticides in here. But when you get the ROC certified tea, which we will be very soon, you know that it's the ultimate quality when it comes to the nutrient levels and the antioxidant levels.
So this ROC certification, is that in United States or is it? Okay.
It's worldwide.
Okay.
So if you go to, you can just Google regenerative organic certification and you will see all the guidelines on how to get that certification. We will have auditors come to our tea farm in the next couple of months and they will give a very stringent audit so that we will only get certified if we have met those standards.
So in terms of affordability and the cost of this particular product, how is this more expensive? Because sometimes we look at organic food and it's just really, really expensive. And you know, we kind of step away saying, I don't know if I can spend, you know, $12 for a milk of gallon or $24 for something else. So how do you do this?
So that's a huge challenge. And right now in the US market, only 10%, the organic only has 10% of the whole market. So still very small. The one barrier, the major barrier is cost. And that's something we have to solve because we have to get more nutrient-dense foods into lower-income families, right?
Right.
So for our teas, it's a challenge we have because we're spending so much care and resources and labor into cultivating the highest quality teas. Obviously, the costs are adding up, right? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to create different price points. Like tea bags will be much cheaper. And for someone who's really focused on their health and want the highest quality, we want to make it affordable for them. But then we want to go to loose leaf teas, they're higher quality. So as a business, that's one of the challenges. We have to create an array of products where we can be economically viable, but we want to shift some of those proceeds to create products that anyone can afford.
Now, I saw your packaging. I love it. How did you think about your packaging, and what was the meaning behind it? Because usually tea comes in you know, those different tins and other stuff. How did you think about that packaging?
So when we talk about health and we talk about the health of the planet, we have to follow in action. We can't just say we're thinking about the health. So we used to have tin cans, and if people use the tin cans, they use the tea, they throw it, it's kind of a waste. It's not as sustainable. Our ultimate goal, and it's all continual improvement, is to have everything compostable, biodegradable, so that we're not having a severe impact on the environment. So the reason why we went to tin to the current packaging is it's recyclable. So at least there's less of an environmental impact. The next stage is to get it to be biodegradable and then compostable, so that even if someone throws it in their garden, it's actually not gonna harm the environment.
So I guess my last question for the consumers would be, you know, why would you say that the consumer should buy your product, and what would you say to your consumers as you know, what makes you different, but what will your last statement to your consumers would be?
So to our consumers, I mean, there's a lot of choices out there, right? So we're not really like, you got to do what's best for you and your situation. But if you're looking for the highest quality tea, where the farmers, their number one goal is to create a tea that's really good for your health, no chemicals, the most nutrient density, antioxidants. So when you talk about buying something, when I buy something, it's value. So you can have something more expensive than another brand, but if your value is so much higher than this, to me, it's the value of the product. I don't mind paying a little more if I feel like I'm getting way more value for it. So that's what we want to convey. If you listen to our story, you look at our social media, see how the teas are growing, you will see that value that you're getting for what you're paying.
Right.
And it's not just about health, it's about planetary health. We're in a crisis. We're in a human and planetary health crisis right now. We want our brand to speak to what's happening, and we want to be part of the solution. So if you support us, it'll not only benefit your health, but it will collectively collectively give us momentum to solve some of these issues that we're seeing on a daily basis.
Well, John, this was quite insightful for me, especially you benefiting the farmers, benefiting consumers. So everybody in the pipeline is benefiting from your product, right? And I look forward to enjoying. Yes, enjoying absolutely.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.